Hello Dave, this is your basket, just over 5,000 miles I think you told me. You asked for a bit of a blow by blow as to what's wrong to show your mechanic, so I thought I'd shoot a little movie. The basket's been in bits. I've taken the springs out and the Belleville washers that keep it all tight top to bottom. So this is the cover off, pardon the rivet falling to one side, and I'll show you the play between the basket casting and the gear. In other words, the play between this hub here and this bore here. It's not massive, but to say it's a new part, or not far off new, hold it firm. It's probably hard to see on the film. Maybe if I zoom right in onto, I can't zoom with this camera, sorry about that. 10 or 15 thou playing that, and chiefly that's because this bearing on them is never properly ground up, so it's quite rough. It's just as they finished it, probably the best finish they could get on a lathe without going then on a centreless grinder. And if we look into the bore here, you'll see that it's only been touching in a few places, and other parts the bore is left just as it was cast. It's just the same finish as on the outside, so that's why you've got the free play. And then to make it worse as well, the inner plate here, so we've got the gear driven by the crankshaft. We've got the 6 coil springs in here that take the drive from the gear into the casting of the basket. The plate that the springs all press against, it drives in this direction, and the springs press against these seats here, all 6. And you can see that the plate's not tight in the casting, it just lifts off. You've got your 6 slots. A lot of clutch baskets don't even have the steel plate, which works as a liner to stop the springs cutting into the aluminium of the basket. So they've put this nice steel lining plate in at great expense, so the clutch basket doesn't wear in terms of the springs eating in, but this thing rattles about all the life. The load is actually carried from these ends of these pressed out pieces. These ends pressed onto the 6 faces there. So the situation is, the gear is in position, it pushes the spring from here and tight against that seat in there, so it pushes it up there, but then when it comes back off the firing stroke and we're onto the clutch then driving back into the crank, in effect, watch the plate, see the plate inside, it moves with the gear. In fact, you can probably see there's a gap opening and closing there in this hole. So as each time the engine fires, and then as it comes back off stroke, the plate comes back with the gear. Add the fact that the springs are in there as well, and particularly this spring, which is what works at idle. The spring is a perfect fit in there, and it's a perfect fit in the gear. So I don't need the spring in for you to see that the plate inside moves backwards and forwards with the gear all the time. I'll probably show that. I don't know if the light's good enough. If you can see down the hole, you can actually see the plate. So you can see the plate moving backwards and forwards like that. It does that all the time. So that's the shake that you feel through the bike, and then it's exaggerated by the fact that the whole lot resonates on the gear with the loose bearing in the middle. Hope that's got it for you. I'll send this through via email.